Of a couple of superstars in racing from Brisbane. The British Open. Bob Shearer previews the great event in golf. The thrills and spills of the opening week of the Tour de France. Athletics and the Superman from the Soviet Union, Sergei Bubka. The story of a football team in Melbourne being sponsored by a most unlikely company. And speaking of football, AFL and rugby league. And for athletic fans, we have Simon Doyle's race too from the London Grand Prix meeting in the 1500 metres. But racing, and it was Grand National Steeplechase Day at Flemington. Keith Hillier was out there. Keith, what an amazing race. Unbelievable almost that a horse could lead by so far and fall, and the two horses behind him also come down.
It was an amazing race, Bruce. It was the tortoise and the hare, I suppose, with one horse herring it along in front. Lord of Oakbank, he got out a fence in front, unbelievable. Toiling seemingly at the rear, and then so much happened after they'd negotiated 23 of the 28 fences, so much happened at the 24th that it became you couldn't comprehend.
No.
Lord of Oakbank, who was still 12 lengths, fell. Then Star Count, who was plugging away and making ground, he went down. So too did Georgie's Son, and he wasn't beaten at the time either, and it left Vinciamo in front. And that was stunning because he'd put in such a shocking run when favourite a week earlier. We thought, oh, surely he's not going to win by default. But then it was believable, the 10-year-old grinding away. And he finished up winning by 10 or 12 lengths. A fantastic, if not thrilling race. And who knows, with all the might have beens, they'll be talked about for years.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're back Lord of Oakbank with a lap to go, you would have been thinking, gee, can he keep going? It was as far in front I've seen a horse for a long, long time, having a look at the video. A Bell Flight, I believe, years ago, led by a long way, and unfortunately fell and
yes,
broke down and was destroyed, I believe. But
Robert Smurden summed that up perhaps best, Bruce. He said, you can only make one mistake.
Sure, and we're about to have a look at that mistake, Keith. We're going to pick this race up at the fence that Keith talked about. Lord of Oakbank was a long, long way in front. The things to look for are the first three to come down, and then you'll see a grey horse left a long way in front, but it absolutely walks up the straight.
Over that one safely, Lord of Oakbank with a break of 25 lengths to Star Count, the last of the treble. And now they'll have four. He's down! Lord of Oakbank fell, he's out of it. Lord of and Star Count is down. Star Count fell at that one, and this leaves now Vinciamo with a big break. And around the back, the Georgie's Son looks to be out of it too, as they come along now with Vinciamo. Here's a new turn of events, and Vinciamo, the grey, who went so badly last week, has got a commanding break over the third last fence in the Grand National. Iron Gates giving chase, he's second, and Believable is making up ground as they come down towards the what will be the second last fence in the National. Vinciamo now from Believable, and they were being followed next then at the head of the others by Direct Mail, and further back then in behind them Questland. Now Vinciamo coming down to the second last one. Here he comes to it. Believable is the one that's running on very hard, and Believable making ground with every stride as they round the home turn on Vinciamo, who's starting to get very weary. Believable has come with a huge run to be second, followed by Questland, and back behind them is Direct Mail, Iron Gate, and they were followed by Avalon King as they straighten up. Believable is coming after Vinciamo at the last jump here. Here's the last fence ahead of them. Believable goes to the front of the last jump. Here he comes to it. He jumped it safely from Vinciamo, and the favourite has put in a fantastic performance after all those changes took place in the middle stages of the race. And here's Believable. He's getting very tired, but so are the others. And Believable has got the Grand National one. He's going up and down in the one spot, but so are the others, with about 150 metres left to go, and Believable will go on and score. He's increasing his break now on Vinciamo, and Believable coming down to score in the Grand National Steeplechase for 1991 by 10 lengths to Vinciamo. 10 lengths away third is Questland.
6 minutes and 15 seconds, I think it took them. And have you seen horses go so slowly up the straight?
Never. I've never seen a winner go so slowly to the line. For Steve Jenkins, Bruce, it was his second Grand National steeple win. He won on Samoy a few years back. He's won nearly all the big ones, both here and in New Zealand. 2 years ago, he made the move to live permanently in Melbourne. He's a great rider.
Yes, he's doing very well, and that horse completed the Australian Steeple Grand National Steeple double. Keith caught up with the trainer of Believable straight after the race, Sean Fox.
They're there to be jumped, and Steve and I had a real good talk about it, and the main thing was to make sure you're there at the finish. And he was a very fit horse. I couldn't improve him one bit. I was confident all the week. But I was very, very happy.
He's a dour stayer and a grinding stayer, but I wonder what might have happened had the leaders stayed on their feet. Is that something you want to even think about?
Well, that's the winners can smile and losers and please themselves what they do.
He's a 10-year-old, Sean. You've set him a long time ago for the big one.
Last year when he won the Waterford Crystal at Moonee Valley.
Well, here he
The
comes
Irish-
back to scale. We'll let you savour this moment. Well done.
Thanks very much, Keith.
Sean Fox with Keith Hillier. Keith also spoke to Stephen Banks, whose story is quite remarkable. His comeback, one stage it looked like he might lose a leg. He rode Lord of Oakbank way out in front, and Keith talked about what might have been after the race.
Well, the mistake put him out of the race, obviously. He still had four left to jump. They were lower than the last of the abattoirs, and he was getting lower at each of the abattoirs, and I've given him a dig in the ribs to make him pick himself up at the last one. And he's just clipped the top of it, and he's put his head down with exhaustion. But he's the type of horse that doesn't matter how tired he is, you just can't pull him up, and he'll just keep bowling along. Last week in the Chris, I had to swing on the horse for 600 metres after he went past the post and put his head over the rail to pull him up.
Interesting there, isn't it, that Stephen Banks is saying that the horse just keeps going, and who knows, he may have hung on.
Yes, and hard luck stories also from the connections of Star Count and from the jockey of Georgie's Son, who thought he was going to beat them all. So
Well, he didn't actually fall, did he, Georgie's Son? He was brought down by Star Count.
Yeah.
What about the Winter Championship yesterday? A terrific finish, this race worth $75,000. They run heats throughout the country areas of Victoria, and also one lot of heats, I think, in the city, and this was the culminated in the final yesterday.
It was introduced to keep some of our better or our top winter class days in this state rather than let them go north to the carnivals. It has been most successful, Bruce, and it was won yesterday by a horse who put in a last to first performance.
Yes, it was Universal Ambition. We picked them up on the turn, and this horse looks 100 to 1 chance.
Behind them is Ritual Star as they come up in the direction of the home turn, being followed next then by Ben Barra King and Rule the Stars from a long way back. At the head of the others then came Sentip, who's lost ground, and he was followed by Universal Ambition as they straighten up now. And it's Grey Man moving up on the outside to tackle Bonded. They're a length and a half to Kraken back, is running on strongly. Rare Chances down the outside. Jeverzone, Ritual Star, Rule the Stars finishing well from a long way back. Grey Man is the leader with about 300 metres left to go. He's kicked away over a length and a half. Kraken back and Bonded, and down the outside is Rare Chance, and they're followed then by Sentip getting into the clear. Grey Man was the leader with 100 metres left to go. Here come the dangers. Universal Ambition and Rule the Stars are flying home, and Kraken back in the centre, and High Waters a great finish coming up. Universal Ambition on the outside, and High Waters as they hit the line. It might be Universal Ambition from High Waters and Rule the Stars.
Terrific finish. That horse making a sustained run, probably dying on his run in the last 40 or 50 metres, but getting home with momentum.
Yes, he ran in the Caulfield Cup last year. It was a welcome return for his jockey Robbie Scarlett, who as a teenager, Bruce, won the Oakley Plate. Remember that, on Son's Rival?
Yeah.
Now, 18 months ago, he was 67 kilos. Yesterday, he rode that horse about 53, so he got the reward that he deserved, I think.
Well, a nice little paycheck. That race worth $75,000. There was another big sprint race in Brisbane yesterday. Stylish Century scratched yesterday. We expect him to run against Tiny's Finita, and at this stage we're not too sure whether Stylish Century is going to go overseas or not.
No, well, scratched probably because the trainer now has been, or the owner,
Dick Monaghan.
Dick Monaghan has been given a trainer's permit, so Dick probably wants the horse to run in his name at his next start, wherever it may be.
Well, he's due to go on a flight out of Sydney, I think, on Tuesday, but there's some talk that he may not catch that flight and he may run in Sydney next week or run in Brisbane in a fortnight's time.
Yes, I think some of the financial ends have not been properly tied up for that overseas circuit, I suppose it is.
Well, I just don't think the horse should go. I don't think he's good enough. He's past his best, and I think he'll struggle over there, but who knows.
Well, I said on radio yesterday, Bruce, if he wins one Group 1 race overseas, I'll go over with a pan and a broom and follow him for the rest of the circuit.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I didn't realise you'd agreed with me on that.
I did.
This is the first time we've agreed for a long time. OK, let's have a look at the race that Stylish Century was going to be in yesterday. Tiny's Finito caught up with the weight, and Piper's Bell is a pretty good mare, got through to win.
Coming down the side, 650 metres to go. Lord Penn is the leader, a length in front of Stan Murrick. Stan Murrick switching across the heels of the leader, and Tiny's Finito forced to go 3 deep as he comes out after this leader as they come onto the corner. Bank Places running fourth, then Don't Play, followed by Gypsy Rogue, Donatel, King Roundtide to the outside, and then Rechabite. Lord Penn in front, 300 metres out. Tiny's Finito slowly but surely coming after him on the outside. Gypsy Rogue, Rechabite next, and Piper's Bell. Piper's Bell is getting a split close to the inside, and she's raced through. She's gone to the lead now. Piper's Bell, 100 metres to go. Piper's Bell in front. Rechabite, Gypsy Rogue coming after her on the outside. Piper's Bell just in front. Rechabite can't get her, no. Piper's Bell has just held on to beat Rechabite.
She's won 13 out of 28, that mare, and they say she's coming down to Melbourne for the Spring Carnival.
Yes, good performance. Rechabite, again, the bridesmaid, if a male can be a bridesmaid, and the weight beat Tony's Finito, 59 kilos.
Yes, in fact, he was asked to give weight to Stylish Century, which was a bit rude, seeing Stylish Century's won $2.25 million. The other major race was in Sydney yesterday, the final of the Southern Cross. Good filly, this one, Rhythm Kingdom, to beat the older horses at this stage of the year.
It's Mr. Money Market in front and high-balling by a length and a half to Way of Hope and third Takeover Battle. Fourth now as they go inside the 750 is Mighty Ramu, and they're followed by Rhythm Kingdom. Dobbin is out very deep but continuing to improve, followed by Gold Futures, then Bambola ridden patiently. They're followed by Thwarted and Pleasant Life is taking off 3 and 4 deep, followed by Waltika, and then Costa del Sol from Master Sam. Look at Crony and Sound Horizon on the rails is last. Into the stretch they come in the Southern Cross final, and Mr. Money Market is the leader over towards the inside. Way of Hope getting through the centre. Mighty Ramu is joining in. Rhythm Kingdom is angling off the outside there, and coming through in the centre is Bambola. Clear of Costa del Sol and Gold Futures from Thwarted. Mighty Ramu tackled by Rhythm Kingdom. They're racing tight. Bambola's trying to get through. They're clear of Way of Hope. Rhythm Kingdom on the outside went to the lead over Mighty Ramu. Rhythm Kingdom is starting to drive away, and Rhythm Kingdom takes it out. Mighty Ramu second, Bambola no luck third. Then came Waltika, followed in by Thwarted.
And Waltika was also very unlucky in fourth placing, so Jack Denham, another winner for him. Another big race during the week was the Grafton Cup.
Yes, Rural Prince is probably another for your Melbourne Cup scroll, Bruce, because
I'll leave you
Rural
alone.
Prince was brought from New Zealand by his trainer Graham Sanders for one race to win the Grafton Cup and qualify for the Melbourne Cup. He did that and was most impressive. Incidentally, he's owned by Lester Spring, the 81-year-old man who owned Rising Fast, who won the Cups double in 55 and almost did it again in 56. Don't forget that horse. Add it to your scroll.
I'll put
Rural
it down.
Spring.
And by the way, Dick Monahan's just rung in and said that Stylish Century's missed the stable and he's got a broom there waiting for you.
I'll leave you to him. I'm going.
Good on you, Keith.
See you next week.
Good punting, Keith. We take a break. Bob Shearer after this talking British Open golf.